Welcome back to another track guide. We're in the BMW M2 and I'm really starting to like this car. Let's dive into 2 laps that I did and how I came across this particular lap time. Now I'm very happy with it. This car is very interesting. You do need to brake early, but you really need to be very fine-tuned with your braking. Brake too much and the car goes straight. Brake not enough and well, you miss the corner. So it's really important in that particular first part of the racetrack that you get your brake pressure correct, because this car naturally, when you first start to drive it, it doesn't want to turn. Like you think, okay, now it's time to turn, and it just doesn't go where you want it to go. The other thing as well is it's got more power than the MX-5, and so what tends to happen is you actually need to modulate the accelerator so you don't just get wheel spin and lose a heap of time. Now when we get to this particular part of the track, what we do is we start to roll off, modulate the brake a little bit just to get that front end just to go in, because it just simply doesn't want to. Now, very similar to the MX-5, we do run out wide. The only difference between the 2 cars is that this particular car, like I've mentioned, you're just going to be really careful with your brake pressure, and it is a little bit more forgiving compared to the MX-5 around this track when it comes to your steering inputs, but just you got to keep the momentum going. Once again, it's just one of those particular racetracks. The corners are tight. It's very important to just brake, control the steering inputs, get out of that corner and then accelerate very hard. Coming into this particular next corner, I do it in second. I take a very tight line because of what I want to do is I want to get back on the power as quick as possible. The car has more power than an MX-5, and so you can afford to run a tighter line, straighten the wheel, and get back on it and go really fast. Now, you got yourself a little bit of time here. What I like to do in this particular next section is you can brake later. However, what I like to do instead is I like to brake a little bit earlier than the car is capable, but then I want to roll into the corner and use the momentum of the car to actually get that drive coming out of this corner. So what we do is we hit the apex, jump up on that curb a little bit, and then roll, and now we start to hit on the accelerator, run all the way wide. Now, be careful here because the car, in this particular section, if you turn too quickly, you're going to get too close to the curb too soon. And what you want to do is you just want to have a nice line. You want to get yourself on the right-hand side, but not too much, because like I said, this car can turn really well when it wants to. And so what you want to do is you want to get onto that curb and cut this corner, and you'll see in the next lap where the off-track is about to happen. However, on this particular lap, it's perfect. There are no off-tracks. Again, pivot. Make sure that you're apexing very early, because these corners are tight, and what you want to do is you want to kind of like almost create a triangle, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if that doesn't make sense. You don't want to do the corner, right? You don't want to go around the corner. You want to make the turn almost into a triangle. Apex, see the exit, hard on the accelerator. And it works really well with this particular car. So on this particular part of the track, as I mentioned in the MX-5, that does not cause an off track. I highly encourage you to use every millimeter of the track whenever you can. It is the fastest way to get around a circuit. Fast flowing through here, you'll see in the fast lap, very easy corner to do. Now as we head on to the final corner, you want to get yourself onto the left hand side as close as possible, late apex, and once again go very tight. I go maybe a little bit too tight, but a nice drive out of that corner to complete lap number 1. Now as we head towards lap number 2, what are the key things here to get a really strong lap around this particular circuit in this M2? The brake modulation and the amount of brake pressure that you apply, especially through this first part of the track, very important. The patience to late apex, roll, and then hit the accelerator, another critical key factor in making sure that you maximize all the opportunities and you don't leave any lap time on the table. Now, as we head towards the first corner, what we want to do here is we want to go close to that apex, but on the right hand side, but don't actually hit her. You want to go now wide. This is now where you straighten the car, you brake into third, you miss that apex, and the reason why you want to miss that apex is because you're going to want to run wide as you can, as wide as you dare, hit this inside apex, and then you can straighten the wheel and get yourself a nice roll, full on the gas now, hard on the accelerator. Now, this particular lap, I wanted to show you this lap because apart from a particular off track that occurs a little bit later in the lap, it actually is a really, really clean lap. So I wanted to give you guys both so you can see them and you can learn from them. I don't like to just show perfect laps because at the end of the day, this lap, these 2 laps took 15 laps to get. So I wanted to show you guys a lap that's not perfect. It doesn't really count. However, there's a lot of good things that are happening throughout this lap that you guys can maximize, and you can, hopefully have a really, really good week. And hopefully it is a good week in this particular car because, let's face it, last week, some of the racing was very, very, very tough. Now, I expect the same this week because this track and this car combination is going to make it very, very challenging, especially overtaking other cars. But as we head towards this next part of the track, I think these particular corners were better on this particular lap than they were on the lap before. Now, you want to run all the way wide, go into second, get nice onto that apex, and then hard on the accelerator, back into third. And as we head towards this particular section of the track, again, flow and momentum. Flow and momentum. Momentum is really, really important. Late apex, run into the corner, roll, and then hit the accelerator. Be patient. This car is a little bit more forgiving than the MX-5 I found at this particular track. But again, to maximize the lap time, as we head now, you can see that little box there on the left-hand side. That's when we start to brake. We go into third, back into second, just before we start to rotate. When we rotate, completely off the brakes, run wide, and then back on the accelerator. Nice, smooth. And again, really, really important for this particular set of corners. You can lose a lot of time here. You can lose a lot of time. Just in this next section coming up, 3/10, you can lose it without even blinking. You're like, where did the time go? But now, as we head towards this particular section of the track, again, see how much I'm cutting on the inside. I really, really want to square that off, make sure that we maximize as much as possible. But this is the part of the track, unfortunately, where the lap got ruined. And I'll tell you what happened. So, didn't actually have the steering angle that I did the lap before, and look what happens. It just sends you way wide. So if you compare it to the lap before, this is what I mean when I'm talking about late apex, a lot of curb into these tight corners, because with that tight curb, you will be able to get on the power. Again, this is not an off track, so you can really, really maximize and run out wide as much as possible. But like I said, late apex, hard on those curbs on the inside, really make those corners into triangles, and you are going to have yourselves an absolutely epic week. Let's go for the 2 fast laps. Let's go.